Hey there, Alex here. About a month ago, Facebook reminded me about this old post of mine from around 8 years ago. It was from the BlackBerry 10 launch event that I attended. This sort of made me a little nostalgic, I guess, since I used to be a huge BlackBerry fan. I even pre-ordered the Z10 immediately once it was announced in Singapore, and it was a phone that I enjoyed using despite its flaws. So I just wanted to do a short video again, just to show off the phone. Maybe it's nostalgia, but I think the Z10 is still such a nice looking phone. It's a design that I think is timeless, just like the Q10. The matte plastic frame has held up well for me, but the back panel has sort of degraded into a sticky mess. Luckily, I do have a skin on mine to cover it up. Having a removable back panel also means a removable battery, something that you don't really see anymore. It's not really a feature I miss, but it did remind me of how excruciatingly long it takes for the phone to power on. At least it has a nice animation when turning the phone on. It would be a bit pointless for me to spend too much time on the specs and performance since it's a phone from 8 years ago, but in short, it's barely usable these days. Performance is not that great anymore, the camera is laughably bad, and the App Store barely has anything useful in it. But I do want to talk a bit about BlackBerry 10. Since my last video on the Q10 exactly 4 years ago, both iOS and Android have switched over to a gesture-based navigation, which shows how ahead of its time BlackBerry 10 was. A swipe up in an app brings me back to the home screen just like on iOS and Android, but the difference here is that it's actually more like minimizing the app. And when it is in this small window, it can switch to provide more useful information, sort of like a widget. But the implementation was not as great to me since the position changes when you switch between apps, and it's only limited to 8. So I think the Live Tile system from Windows Phone was actually a little nicer. The rest of the phone is filled with gestures and swipes as well. Turning on the screen is a swipe up from the bottom, peeking into BlackBerry Hub, a feature that consolidates all communications and notifications on the phone into a single location, is a swipe up and then to the right. This is also why I think some folks felt like the learning curve was a little steep back then. But if you take the time to learn everything that it can do, it's actually really nice and fluid. Something that I find is still quite nice is how the navigation in apps work. Swipe to go back, or if I'm deep inside an app, I can just swipe back from the back button and it will let me quickly jump to other parts of the app very quickly. I also like how I can long press items and then just drag them to the right side of the screen to take more actions. These two actions combined makes it really easy to move files around the phone. There are other interesting things in BlackBerry 10, like the integration of third-party apps in BlackBerry Hub, how it was ahead of its time when it comes to app permission management, and many more. Anyway, in the end, we all know how it turned out for BlackBerry 10, but even though it's long gone, I think we should at least commend BlackBerry for trying to do something different. It's a shame that they weren't able to make it work, just like it's a shame that Microsoft wasn't able to make Windows Phone work, because it would be nice to have more options, and I feel like both platforms had unique things to offer to consumers. Anyway, since BlackBerry is set to be launching a new Android phone this year, let's hope that it will be something good. Thanks for watching this video, and see you guys on the next one.